Hello, and welcome to the Comedy Divas Gurl Talk podcast, where we talk to funny divas from the stage to the screen to behind the scenes and everywhere in between to hear their amazing stories. Because you know what? They just aren't told enough. We got a funny diva in the house tonight. Actually, we're in her house. We're going to get to her. But before that, please like, subscribe, and follow so we can bring you more funny and amazing divas. Now, let's get to Miss Onika McLean. Let me put on my spectacles. All right, keep it 100. Let me put on my spectacles. I want to get all her stuff right.
You look fabulous.
Thank you, my dear. Okay, so Onika is a comedian, an actress, a writer, an entrepreneur. And she's been on HBO, NBC, Bravo, Don't Tell Comedy, Law and Order, which we'll talk about. She has her own podcast with her daughter called Main Stage, which is the name of her line. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get to that also. And she's going to be in the Comedy Divas special later this summer. She's also working her own independent second comedy special. And we're going to get to that too. Mm-hmm. She's working. So please welcome Onika McLean.
Hey,
y'all. Hey. I'm going to take back off my spectacles.
Darling, how are you?
I'm good.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for letting me be in your podcast place.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I always like to say, I like to have women tell their stories, funny divas tell their stories, how they began. So when did you know you were funny, and how did you start to do stand-up comedy?
So just growing up, survival mechanism, growing up in the hood, I was raised by a single mom. I needed to keep her laughing, to keep her off my ass. So I would just, be silly and crazy, and in school, the same thing. And so I didn't think it was funny. I just assumed it was my personality. Yeah. But to make people laugh has always been very infectious for me. Like, if you start laughing because of the things I'm saying, I'm not going to stop. People are like, stop, clown, sit down. That's always been the case. Mm-hmm. And I always wanted to be an actress. But, life started lifing, and I had my children early, and I got married, and then I just needed to survive, mm-hmm. if that makes sense. And so I didn't think about the things that I wanted until my children got older and I was able to focus in on myself. And when I did, I took a comedy class, and I've not looked back since.
A friend of mine went through a divorce, and she felt like she took a comedy class, and she said that was her therapy.
Yeah.
Did it feel like therapy for you?
It didn't. It didn't feel like therapy for me in comedy until I started telling my own stories.
Gotcha.
Because when I first started comedy, you take a class and say, what do you think is funny? And then this is how you do the juxtaposition and justification and all the things, the mechanisms of what makes a comedian. And once you learn all that stuff, and then you can kind of like throw that out the window and start telling your story, then it became more therapeutic for me. Does that make sense?
Okay. So what was it like the first time you got on stage? I always ask that too. Was it scary? Did you get a vibe? Did you get energy? What was it like the first time you hit stage?
So the first time that I hit the stage, I took a class, and it was the Comedy Sellers class. Oh. So it was a showcase. So it was low stakes, but I didn't think it was low stakes because I had no idea what this was. So I invited all my friends, and you do this whole thing, and it was energetic. It was just I felt so alive, but I was going so fast. I didn't know timing. I didn't know pause, and I didn't know to make it conversational. I just told my 5 minutes as fast as I can tell my 5 minutes. But it's addicting. It's addictive. Like, you would do it for no money, and that's the thing that you love.
Well, I've done it.
I've done it for no money a lot of times. Not anymore. Don't call me. But yeah.
No more. Yesterday's price and not today's price.
Right. Come on now, Fat Joe. Yesterday's prices are not and he's the Bronx, right?
That's
Bronx.
right. Boogie down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's what happened. Like, I just fell in love with it. And then I started realizing it's not about me. Comedy is really about the demographic that you're speaking for.
Okay, yeah.
Right? Because when you're speaking for, I'm a black woman of a certain age, single mom, divorced, corporate professional, all the spaces that God has allowed me to be in, I have a perspective. And once you gain a perspective and you talk, you end up talking for people, and you don't realize that's what you're doing until people come up to you like after a show and they're like, girl, I felt like you was telling my story.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, I am telling your story. Mm-hmm. It's my story, but I am telling your story.
And when did you realize how important it is to write?
But I always wrote.
Okay.
Like I always wrote in some capacity, whether it was journaling or just writing short stories or stuff that happened. And I'm like, if I could have altered that universe, I would write it. And I don't know if I thought it was important, but it just seems like it was just a part of who I am. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I feel like as a kid, I would interview myself. Like as a kid, I would interview myself in the mirror because I would just be asking myself questions like, well, how did you know you were going to be famous? And then I got this whole thing going on, and I did that since I was like 8.
Now, did you ever take any acting classes when you were young? You said you always wanted to be an actress. Did you ever take any classes?
No, I think like our local neighborhood had like maybe like a community development thing, and I would do like little stuff there, but it was never like acting. I just was an actress in my mind, you know, like, and I knew that one day somebody was going to be interviewing me, so I needed to practice.
Okay.
I would practice everything, actually. If I had an argument with somebody, I would practice in the mirror, like how I looked when I was like, first of all, you got me fucked up. You know, I would practice it. You didn't do that as a kid?
I love it. I was in the mirror. I was, I had my microphone,
Yes. With your brush.
With your brush.
Anyway.
Yes. Accepted an award. I was always accepting an award. I was
you
like,
accepted an award?
Yes, I had
right,
my
you was a film.
Yes.
You were a filmmaker already.
Well, I did a lot of things growing up, in different parts of the art. So I was going to get an award in something. I was ready. I was going to win. I was going to win.
That's so dope.
So, you realized you were funny. You got on stage. You raised your family. You did all those things. Mm-hmm. So, what was your first big break in comedy?
Shoot, I feel like the breaks just keep coming.
Okay.
So, what's big as it relates to the break?
A big show or opening for a big name.
Oh, recently, my most recent big break, I'll say that, right? So recently I opened up for Michael Che at Irving Plaza.
Nice.
And so that was dope because that was like really through Live Nation and all the comedians. I didn't know that all the of course, it's Che. Why wouldn't it be all the comedians? But I just didn't think about it. And then so I did that show, and it was like me, Sam J, Marcelo Hernandez, Che, and Reggie Conquest, and it was such an amazing show. You think it's a big break? I told them no at first when they hit me up.
What?
Girl, I just be going fast, running fast. I had a show already scheduled in the Poconos, and then I was like, did I just tell Michael Che no? Yes, girl. I said, I called him back. I said, I'm sorry. I'm bugging. Yes, I will be there. I would love it. I would love it. And then so that was like an amazing experience because he did something called Che-Chella. It was his first time doing it.
Very cool. Amazing. That's a cool name.
Yeah, Che-Chella. And so that was dope. So that was most recent. And then I opened up for Keith Robinson, which is one of my heroes and mentor to all the doggone comedians.
Yeah, he's a legend.
Yeah, so he's working on his new hour, and so I was at the Cellar recently opening up for him. And then after, because Keith is like, if he lets you open up for him and he takes you to dinner, then
you're in.
He has blessed you. And then someone told me, and it's like, I know it's like little things, but then someone told me, oh, Keith said you one funny bitch. And I was like, yay! So that's happening. And then Law and Order happened. I feel like a lot of things just are serendipitous for me. It just kind of happens as long as I keep my energy high.
Well, I think it's really dope you did Law and Order because you're a comedian, and but you're an actor, so you can do both. So tell us about Law and Order.
So I just got an audition and I submitted, and my manager was like, "Oh, you got it," and I was like, "Oh my God!" And it was like, "This is really good because any actress in New York, like this is like a rite of passage," and I was like, "It's a rite of passage," and it was like so dope. And then I get on. I go to do not the dress rehearsal, but the wardrobe fitting. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking to the wardrobe lady about the outfits, and I'm trying to explain to her certain things. And she was like, well, your husband is going to be Mekhi Phifer. And I was like, girl, what? Because even with Law and Order, they do a table read via Zoom, but the bigger acts, they're not there.
Right.
So I just didn't read the call sheet, girl.
I was going to say it wasn't on your call sheet. I was just going to ask it, or was it on the script? Like,
it was not.
They listed.
No,
okay.
I missed that, and I was like,
that's a nice surprise.
it was such a nice surprise. And when I say he was so amazingly sweet and kind and humbled, he was like giving me like all this game, and he was telling me about his life, and he was like, I'm not sure if you know this, but I had done so, and I was looking like, are you fucking stupid? Of course I know. I know who you are. Hi, I'm Mekhi. We know. And it was like so dope. And then it just felt like soul food all over again, because Michael Beach was his defender.
Oh wow.
So he was there too. So they were just talking.
A little reunion.
And then Eric LaSalle was directing it.
Wow.
Girl, I was just like,
you were in all kind of black excellence.
That's what I'm saying. Wow. That's how God do me. That's how God do me. So I was just looking around like, this can't be real. This can't be real. Like, I was his wife. We cried together. He was like, I'm about to throw it to you. You got it. And I was like, it was just so good.
You were in a master class.
Yes.
That's what happened to you. You were in a master class.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that happens.
So, I always like to ask people, if you had a Mount Rushmore of black female women in comedy, now it could be stand-up and actresses, who would your 4 be for the Mount
black
Rushmore?
female? Of course, Wanda Sykes. Whew. Some more. Black female. Wanda, some more. Lunel. Goddamn, Lunel is so funny. It doesn't even make sense.
Yes, she is.
It's 5 of them or it's 4?
4.
Okay, so I only got 1 more, and me.
There you go.
Girl, I think I'm hilarious.
Yes, you are.
I mean, they'll be like, who's that little black one over there? You'll find out who she is soon enough. That's who well, okay. Let me just take my name off there. Let me see. Wanda, some more. Lunel. And watch. You said acting also? Stand-up and acting? And Monique.
Good one.
It has to be. Monique
one.
has paved the way for so many of us, especially so many of us that want to do both.
Absolutely. Yeah, she truly, truly has, because she went from sitcom, stand-up, and winning an Academy Award for
for Pressure,
hugely dramatic role.
Yeah.
So
it's like and what I see with Monique, knowing that I'm in the comedy industry, she is a champion for young black women in comedy.
Yeah, she is.
She puts people on her stages all the time, and a lot of times, black women, it don't really work with that many black women.
Unfortunately, it's true.
Yeah, except you.
I got you, girls.
Yes, right.
Absolutely.
But and I don't know what that is, because I love being around comedians. Period. Like, you could just. Comedians are the best people to just talk to, because they have the timing, they got the joke. And you're just like, it's like a master class all the time. I had a show last night at Comedy in Harlem. Jonesy does a Thursday night.
Yes, I heard about that.
Yes,
shout out to Comedy in Harlem.
Yeah, shout out to Jamie and Nikki. They are amazing. So I was booked on a show yesterday with them, and so I had a good set. It was amazing. But Rob Stapleton closed it out, and it was a masterclass, just watching him talk about a joke and becoming the kid that he's talking about, where you can see him. Sometimes it's just like a shift in the eye movement, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, he's a legend too in New York for sure.
Yes, but he's one of the kings, because they have the kings of New York.
Yes, and
just being able to watch them is amazing. But there's so many people that are great that people just don't know their names yet.
Yeah.
It's just Micheal. Everyone has a perspective as it relates to comedy, and people are speaking for their demographic, and just watching them work. I am really a fan of comedy, so I can sit in the audience, not going up, and just laugh my butt off, because I know what laughter does for the soul.
Yeah, it really does. And speaking of, you were in our special for Comedy Divas.
Thank you for having me.
What was that like? Because you all brought it on that stage. Like, you talk about different stories. That's what's so great. People are like, oh, they're going to be too similar. No, because everyone has a different life and different stories and different experiences.
Right.
So what was it like working with all those lovely ladies?
Professional. It was so well done.
Thank you.
It was so well done. You know how you go into a Law and Order set? It's all the things. It's all together. And that's what your set brought. Even like, and it's so crazy because normally female comedians, they bicker a little bit. But the space that you created for us was such just situated in sisterhood that you just wanted to rise to the occasion. Like, you were rooting for your sister, and it was so good to watch. I loved being a part of Comedy Divas. It was just such a good experience, and just like becoming a friend of yours. Because like, you reach out and
I saw you in LA.
Yeah, and you check in.
Yeah.
And that's just being so authentic. And in this world of make-believe, it's harder to find authentic people, but you're one of them.
Oh, thank you.
So it was amazing. The food, the lighting, the all the things. You made sure that we all felt.
I got those faces beat too.
Yes. You made sure that we all
I wanted you to look
felt
beautiful.
like we were on, a Paramount set. You made us all feel like we were all taping our hours for the biggest of things.
I wanted y'all to feel that. I wanted y'all to feel special. Yeah.
I felt it. And I was like, wow, this was so amazing. I loved it.
Thank you.
I loved it. And especially because it was for Black women, by a Black woman, to enhance the experiences of other Black women. It was just like all the things. And it's our time. As long as we know how to like really push and champion for each other, it'll continue to be our time.
So another thing I always like to ask too is there anyone that you met, like a celebrity or another comedian or something like you were starstruck and like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I met this person or work with this person?
Kevin Hart and Wanda Sykes on the Kelly Clarkson show.
Nice.
Right? See, that's what I'm saying.
Huge.
Girl, some stuff just be happening for me. People just call me like, hey, Onika, you want to do this thing? Yeah. And so Kelly Clarkson was out on like some kind of family leave, and Wanda Sykes and Kevin Hart were co-hosting her show. And then they needed a comedian to be to introduce Kevin Hart and Wanda Sykes, and I was the comedian.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy. What was that like?
Girl, I was just like, wow. Like, they beat my face up, did my hair, and I was like, this can't be
That's
happening.
the big time.
Yes.
Those are two huge people to see your comedy chops.
Right.
Huge.
Right. It was just like so dope. Like, and all this happened this year. I'm not even talking about last year. This happened this year.
Wow.
It's like so dope. Right? I didn't even say that. Right?
To even say that is really huge. But one thing I appreciate about you, Onika, is that you're a hustler. Yeah. Okay, you don't play. I mean, I talked to you earlier this year. You were out of the country. What country were you in?
Oh, was I in Tulum? Oh
no, Ireland or something. Where were you?
Oh yeah. What was in Scotland?
Scotland.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
we did the Fringe festival.
Scotland.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. That's, okay. That's not a normal thing, especially for a Black female comic.
It's true, right? I would definitely go back there again. It was amazing.
So, what was the name of the festival?
The Fringe Festival. So it's hundreds of years, or at least 100. It's a huge festival in Scotland, and artists all over the world go there to give them their chops. So it's actors, they do one woman shows and one man shows and collaborations and stand up, a bunch of stand up. And so I was invited, and we teamed up with two other Black women in comedy, Glory Mora and Mika Mo. And so we did the Queens of New York. Oh. And so I was able, because I do some characters, so I was able to host it with my character O-Dog, who is my male character, who I developed when my ex-husband came home from jail. It just made me be able to process, him always getting off. And then I was like, oh, it got to be fun to be him. Like, just not giving a fuck. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. So then I started doing the O-Dog. And then, so I was O-Dog as the host. And then I headlined our show. Our show. It was so nice. We did a documentary on it that we're still working on.
Oh, nice.
We met John Oliver. He's in our documentary. It's like so many serendipitous things just happen.
That is very cool. Another thing you do also is like, you're from New York series.
Yes.
And that's fun too. So talk about that.
So that came about because just people lying when they're here. You know? And I get it, because when you're here, most times people are leaving the comforts of their environments, coming to New York to make it. Mm-hmm. So the people that come here kind of hustle harder than the people that live here, right? Because certain things you could just take for granted. And I was watching some comedian, and she was like, because I'm from New York, and I know she's not. And it just kind of pissed me off. You know what I'm saying? Because in her mind, I think that when she was doing the set, it was to, have some kind of credibility. And for me, being a New Yorker is not just for street cred. Like, we went through 9/11 and the blackouts and all the things that we have been very vulnerable to experience with each other. And we had to go through those things. We are a targeted city. So when you say I'm from New York, like that means something to people. Yeah. It definitely means something to a New Yorker.
Especially what borough you're from.
Right. and right. And I always say a borough is like a different country.
It is.
Right.
It really is.
And right, because the Bronx and Brooklyn, we like distant cousins. We don't really fuck with each other, but we do. You know what I'm saying? It's
we know what we do. Absolutely.
We know what we do. You know what I mean? Like, oh, she from the Bronx. Like, I'm not gonna be on.
It's like a kinship, but I ain't going there.
Right. Yeah. It will be a fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not going to boss each other around. Right. That's not going to happen.
But we got each other back.
But we got, right. Yeah. So, but people don't know that, right? Yeah. So that's how I came up with that that segment. What I did was I was like, well, if you're really from New York, like, what high school did you go to? And then it just blew up because so many people not living here anymore, right? Because so many people leave.
Yeah.
And then
they go down south especially.
Yes. And but in LA and all these places, but then they link up with these communities. And what I found is people would hit me up in my DM like, we all send each other in a group chat, our New York group chat. We like, this is what she talking about today. And so it's outside of me. I didn't know that was a thing. And that's why those videos do so well, because it builds a community inside the comments. That makes sense? Yeah. And so I did it as an ode to New York, and now I'm just doing it as I'm still here, guys, so this is what's happening. And let's remember the time that and what about Grant's Tomb, and what about the Polo Grounds, and what about Willie Burgers, and what about, the Roxy and the roller rinks.
Roller rinks, I was going to say that.
Empire and Skate Key, and what about Lacey's, like those things that just make people think about. What about when
nostalgia?
The nostalgia of it. So that's why. If you're really from New York, answer this question. What spot was popping? I'm going to give you the address. It was on 122nd Street off of Riverside Drive. Of course, it's the 90s, 2000s, but it was amazing. What is it called? What was it called? 122nd off of Riverside Drive. Put it in the comments. If you're really from New York, you'll put it in the comments. If you don't know, ask somebody.
Something you're always good at too, just piggybacking on your New York series, but you're just good at social media, period. And a lot of people who are grown don't embrace it as much, but you have. So what has social media done for you?
Nothing. Girl, wait, okay. Well, no, it made me find more of my tribe.
Okay.
Of course, it's given me opportunities. Right, because people they check my social media. I remember getting an audition out the blue for somebody for something that Stan Latham was working on, just because his production team follows my social media.
There you go.
So yeah, and I'm immature. Like, I like what the kids like. People like I feel like you live one time. Why not just be silly? Right? Some people are so serious.
They're too serious. Yeah.
Post on a thing, but you ingest it all day. So why not show people your personality?
Yeah, I think there's a generational divide. And you gotta kind of melt it too, and feel and feel out what works for you. Yeah, embrace it in a way you can, but you gotta do it. It's kind of like
it's like having access to the newspaper and not putting in an article. You have access to it every day.
Yeah, every day. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And you definitely got to find your tribe.
Right. And why wouldn't you put in an article about yourself?
And it's free.
It's free.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, you pay in time, effort, sweat, tears.
Yeah.
But
you got to put the work in to make it work for you.
Social media is your opportunity every time. It's just what you do with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
To make your own show, make your own product, make your own content, and show what you got. So I want to talk about something else that's phenomenal with you. And that is your lipstick.
Yeah.
Main stage.
I got it.
I have it on right now. What do I have on? I have on some right now.
What color do you have on right now? Let me see. Oh, you have on Main Stage.
It's really nice.
Yes.
So tell people about Main Stage.
Okay.
And why'd you start it?
Okay, so Main Stage was a concept that God gave me. So crazy, right?
Really?
Because like I was looking to do merch, right? And but I wanted to do something that was more me. Because I liked a lipstick. I love a little lip combo situation. And I like to like dress nice. And at first I was doing t-shirts, and I was like, I don't want to, everybody's doing t-shirts. I want to do something that's more me. And then God was like, lipstick, but as a microphone. And I was like, lipstick as a microphone, that never makes sense. And why? And it's shaped like a microphone because that microphone freed me. It freed my voice. It helped me to speak my truth. It helped me to speak my ugly and sometimes my amazing. And it was just because it amplified what I had to say. And I want that for everybody. I want everybody to remember that their voice frees them. I work in a domestic violence space.
Okay.
And oftentimes those don't talk.
Yeah.
No, like it's a hushed thing. And so it just, I was like, this microphone, just remember. So I even named them my lipsticks, like use your voice, speak out loud, pop your ish, and then the glosses are more about it's the stage. So it's center stage and main stage. And, it just to remember using your voice. Women, the female energy, so often we do not use our voice, and then it puts us in danger and it's taken away from us because we don't use it, and people will see that you're not going to use it, and then they run amok. And so that this is a reminder, like you put it on and you feel however you feel, however lipstick and makeup and taking some self-care, whatever that does, however that makes you feel. But the reminder, even if you throwing it in your bag, like, this is my voice.
My voice. We all deserve to be on the main stage.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's your life.
Mm-hmm.
The main stage of your life is you, the main character. Like, and I feel like so many people play side roles in their own story.
That's deep.
This your life, girl.
That's
You the supporting
life.
Character in your own story.
That's right.
You not the lead. You ain't get the lead role
in your own life.
In your own life is crazy to me.
Oh, yeah.
It's bananas.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? So that's what this is about. And then when I tell people the story about it, they're like, yes. And it sells well and people support it. And
where can people buy Main Stage? So
you can find it on Onika, Onika, my name. I forgot how I spell it. ONIKAMCLEAN.com. And you can just go to shop Main Stage. And then I'm going to put it on other shops and stuff. You can get it from my social media. You can get it off my Instagram. Sometimes I'll link it or whatever. But yeah.
How many colors do you have?
10.
Nice. That's a great variety.
And recently, people were like, I don't really wear lipstick. I just need a gloss. So because I do it with my daughter Ania, and so she came up with glitter gloss. So that's just transparent, and then there's a goldish color because I always like a little shimmer. So
Main Stage has it all for you. Check it out. Buy it. Support this sister.
It's black owned.
Black owned.
I am black.
That's right.
I own it. That's podcast with Black owned me.
Now, speaking of your daughter, speaking of main stage, you have a podcast with her. Can you talk about that?
I have a podcast with my younger daughter. Her name is Ania Hall. She hates me to say her full name, but we came up with the podcast for the same reason. So I was doing podcasts with other comedians or whatever, and I wanted to talk about our relationship and our lives and what has happened to bring us to these spaces. Because like I said, I raised them alone for the most part, and just what that looks like without being downtrodden. You know, they went to gifted and talented schools. There's a lot of Black women that make it happen.
Right.
You know, single
mom
or not.
Story is not all like
I own this house.
gloom.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
And
like,
she got a nice house.
Right.
Okay.
Let's not get it twisted. I feel
Nice.
like the single mom story has always been this. But when I realized that I was going to have to do it by myself, I went in high gear. I was like, oh. So that means I need to go to college. I can't have them doing anything that there's only one stereotype going to be in here. The rest of it, I'm going to do what I need to do. And that's what I started doing. And I think that's why I hustle the way I hustle, because God put you here for a reason.
Amen.
He did.
Amen.
Like, I don't understand how people get up and just don't know. Like, tomorrow's not promised, but he gave you today.
And you making the most.
And you just got to make the most of it. And I know it seems like a lot, but it's really not.
And what's fun is you talk about generational things, right?
Yeah, how she experiences dating, how she experienced growing up as a child of a single mom. Like, because oftentimes I'm learning a lot about her with this podcast. I want to get my other daughter on also, but I'm just learning so much about her generation of women.
One of your jokes that I love when you talk about your daughter and her being a gangster rapper.
Yes.
You talk about your daughter being a gangster rapper. Can you talk a little bit about, because I think it's so funny.
Yeah, but that joke is indicative of the sacrifice that I made for my children, right? Because she is a gangster rapper, but she is a songstress and she is a songwriter and all those things, and she is an amazing artist. But the joke is it's so gutter and it's so like you killed nobody, girl. Like what are you talking about? I'll take you and I slit your throat. Where you ain't slit no goddamn body's throat. Like, and
then you got strays in the joke in the rap too, right?
Yeah, like my mother was a crackhead. No, I'm not. I just started smoking weed when it became legal. You know what you're talking about? I'm not even smoking it for real. So, but that's the privilege that they experienced having me as a mom, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? They were able to experience all those things. She knows gangster life because she just kept on checking books out of the library that she had no business checking out, like Donald Goins and Horse. Like, why are you reading this shit? What's wrong with you? But she just had affinity for, I guess, where we came from. And I just wanted to keep focused on where we were going. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So, but that's her story. Let her tell it. But she is an amazing artist. Actually, she's an amazing artist.
Part of another hustle I like that you have is you did a special that you produced yourself, and you're doing another one. So talk about that.
Right. So my first special is out on YouTube now. It's called Playtime. It's amazing. It's an hour straight fire.
It's amazing.
Fire.
It's straight fire. Absolutely.
And then my second one is called Climate Change, and it's about me becoming an older woman and what menopause is and what that experience has been for me, dealing with my body changing and my mind changing. And I thought that it was eventually it was just going to get good. And but I didn't know it was good. You know what I'm saying? Because I was so busy in this hustle, right? And then once your body starts changing, and I was like, oh my God, I'm having my own personal climate change. And then I did a special on it. And I feel like I'm going to try to do a special every year and a half until I expire.
Okay.
If I have new stuff to talk about,
keep it going.
I'm going to talk about it. And I feel like you have to,
because life changes and stories change and people can relate to it, just like you said.
And why wouldn't I? If I can finance it, if I can do it, why wouldn't I? I feel like that is why I'm doing this, to speak for my people. And that's what we going through right now.
So I always like to ask people, what's their dream? You know, what for you can't be for you. That's a tribute to my mom. So what's that dream project that you want to do?
Oh, man.
Who's that dream co-star, that comedy co-star?
I would want to play against Kevin Hart. I feel like we the same size.
How tall are you?
4'11". I'm sorry, Kevin. What is he? 7'2". How tall is Kevin? You know, everybody big to me. So, like, I feel like
You're a little mama.
I've seen him do drama, and it's really good.
Yeah,
it's really good. And like, he's the biggest, littlest that's done it. That would be good to be Kevin Hart's wife.
I can see that.
Right?
Yeah, let's put that out there in the universe.
I could tell him off. Yeah, I could be Kevin Hart's wife. Yeah, I think that would be good. Who else? It's just so many people that's so great, and I just like love ingesting it. But I think that playing opposite Kevin Hart several times, where people were like, "Oh my God!" Every time they do something,
they always doing something together.
Yeah, that part. That's just so that I can, come on, Kevin, because if you making that money, I mean, I can get
like, let's go.
I got to go to Marshall's too.
So what you have coming up? What can people look for from you?
Look for more as it relates to main stage, the podcast, the lip line. We're looking into develop more products around that, messaging about using your voice, and my comedy special, Climate Change. Please put that on your calendars, put it somewhere, say I need to be looking for this girl, because that's what she's going to be doing. And then you're going to see me in a theater near you soon. So I'm going to be doing movies.
What about comedy tours this summer?
I'm going to be in St. Martin. I'm going to be in Atlanta. I'm touring like little mini tours.
Okay.
But next year I'm going to do more touring.
Well, follow up to know where her shows are, and follow Comedy Divas, because we like to encourage and we promote their shows. So yeah.
So follow me on social medias, Onika Comedy on all social media platforms, but also join my mailing list, which is OnikaMcLean.com, and you can keep up with me there because we send a newsletter.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Onika McLean.
Thank you so much
for being on the Comedy Divas Girl Talk podcast.
Comedy Divas Girl Talk podcast. Share. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend.
That's right.
If we don't promote us, who gonna promote us? 92%. Everything that we do should be popping.
So thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the Comedy Divas Girl Talk podcast. Now listen, you got to like, subscribe, and follow, comment, all that good stuff. Let us know who you want to see. Let us know what other diva you want to see. And thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time. I'm Sharon B. See ya. Bye.